version of the leadership formula, where we take your individual personality traits and align them with best practices in leadership. And in so doing, we individualize your leadership. So this week's version is on motivation as the sixth of the six components of the leadership formula. And when Christy and I were young parents, we thought we had mad skills in motivation. Our kids would do whatever we wanted to. We could, manipulate them like parents do. As they aged a little bit, not so much. Our kids started using that Jedi mind trick that Obi-Wan uses in Star Wars. These are not the children you're looking for. And we figured out what just happened in that conversation. So I said, well, I'll just bring home what I do at work and bring it home to the kids and use all my tactics as a consultant at work. So I use the Enneagram, and I use the Enneagram for leaders because I think it really speaks to the motivations to why we think and behave like we do. And so I started with Britton, our oldest. Found out he's a type 9 Enneagram, a peacekeeper, and when we tried to push and motivate Britton too hard, it disturbed his inner equilibrium of peace. And so typically with most 9s, if you push too hard, they become passive aggressive and start dragging their feet. With Jack, a type 1, a perfectionist, really doesn't need a whole lot of motivation. What he needs is confirmation that you are basically agreeing with what he thinks is right, which he thinks is right anyway. He just wants our validation to make sure that we're on the right track and we're thinking correctly. So we got that from Jack. So Sam and Christy are both Enneagram 4s, which basically means they're motivated when they, along with the rest of the entire civilized world, sees them as being unique. As a matter of fact, I could have put Sam and Christy on one slide together, but that would take away their uniqueness, so they each have a slide separately. So Christy, have I had your slide up long enough?
Wait. Okay, that's long enough.
Okay, that's what I figured. Thank you. I'm an Enneagram 7, and you may recognize that's not my picture. As I stated before, Christy is an Enneagram 4 with a very, very, very vivid imagination and kind of this wistful longing to live in this deep, deep fantasy world that she goes to a lot during the day. So I do what I can to make her happy. However, the Thor costumes are so itchy. Wouldn't believe it. So anyway, so I brought home the Enneagram and it helped a bit, but then I noticed that we were kind of falling back into routines that we experienced before. Defensive walls would go up when we talked to our kids. We would reach an impasse and couldn't push through it. And we basically started having these breakdowns in communication. And so a lot of times, you as a leader, what do you experience when you try to communicate with your folks and you try to break down or you have breakdowns in communication? And here's what I've started to figure out, because my clients started asking me the same questions, and they're like, how can I remember all the Enneagram types? It's impossible. There's too many. There's 9 types. I can barely keep up with my own. And that, my friends, is the key. Keeping up with your own type is all you need to know. Quick example. So when I talk to Britton as an Enneagram 9, I don't have to approach him as a peacekeeper. I have to approach him not from the 7's role or the 7's type. So in other words, the 7 is high energy, optimistic, joyful. The 9 is more mellow and laid back and peaceful. So I would routinely, to try to motivate Britton, say, come on, you can do it. Put some fire in your belly. Let's get going. And what I found out was that may be what he needed to hear, but it wasn't what he wanted to hear. I was pushing on him. In the same way, Christy, because of her heavy, heavy dose of feelings she would give to the boys, has to check that at the door too. As a type 4, she wants to approach everything naturally as she does from feelings. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes you have to take it in small doses. So she's trying to learn that. Either way, what we've both discovered is what we've known for a while, about 40 years with motivational research. And that is motivation is a pull technique, not a push. And so how do you, as a leader, pull your people to motivate them? I'll tell you this in one key: value their perspective. When I see difficulty in communication, it is always because two people or two perspectives are trying to enter into the conversation. It just rarely works that way when two people try to assert all the time. So here's what I would tell you as a leader: value their perspective over yours to start with. Now, I'm not saying give into their needs and be a pushover. What I'm saying is they have to understand that you care about them. Keep them motivated. And let me give one more shout out to Chris Hemsworth for Christy. There you go. That ought to do it. Until next week, we'll see you.